Hey guys, Sean here. I didn't want to ever have to make this kind of video or this video. It says 2 days after Kobe's passing, so I'm gonna edit a couple things, get the video ready, and get it uploaded. So it might not happen on Tuesday, as it is 6:47 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. But I'm surprised how hard the loss of Kobe Bryant from this world hit me. I've been a avid Lakers fan since the 80s, literally. Magic Johnson days. I lived in Southern California. I lived in Boston during the Lakers Celtics heyday rivalry and supported my Lakers. Oh my God! I remember the day I found out the Lakers traded for draft pick Kobe Bryant, and I mean, that was '96. I was, for those of you who've been following me a little while, I can finally give you some specifics on my age in this video. I might have mentioned my college years, and so maybe this isn't new information, but and maybe you don't give a crap. But for those of you who might be curious, it was '96. I was entering my senior year at college. So I was living in Massachusetts, going to college. I was entering my senior year, and I hear that my favorite team, at that point, it had been my favorite team for 8 years, right? 88 to 96. Yeah, 8 years. I've been following that team. Like, oh, and actually, I started watching them. For those of you who are familiar with the Lakers history, I started watching the Lakers after Magic won his fifth and final title in '88. So I saw their celebration. I lived in Southern California in 1988, Orange County, Mission Viejo. I lived there in 1988, and I turned on the TV and I see champagne in the locker room celebrations between Magic and Kareem and the rest of them. And it was Southern California, so the local news broadcasters were very happy about this. And I ended up being a fan. I was, heck, I was what, 12, 11 or 12? Yeah. I became a fan. Then they didn't win another title until Kobe and Shaq days, and basically the 5 titles Kobe won on the Lakers is the 5 I got to see, the 5 championships. But yes, I was in college in '96 when I heard my favorite team drafted a a guard out of high school, and that had never happened before in the history of the league, ever. There had been high school players who got drafted, but not a guard, not out of high school, not a guard. I mean, eventually that became much more common, but and then the NBA made a cap where you had to be 1 year in college. They might remove that, but anyway, the point is, Kobe was the first one to do it as a guard, to try it. He was the first one to do it, to jump, to try to make that jump. He was 17 years old when he got drafted. He was 17 years old when I started to follow him and become a big fan. Now, part of it has to do with my intuition, and part of it just has to do with life experience of watching the Lakers and Kobe. But the day I heard that they drafted this high school player that was the first guard to ever go from high school to the pros, who was only 17, and he's already in the pros on the Lakers, my favorite team, I was shocked and stunned and happy and delighted. I anticipated he would be the greatest ever, right around the level of Michael Jordan or even better. He ended up being probably, for most people's consideration, a little under Michael Jordan. But I was thinking, oh my God, like Michael Jordan's level or slightly better. Like, so I was pretty close in retrospect, right? Of my premonition, intuition, feeling about this guard, this 17-year-old that got drafted onto the Lakers. He got drafted to Charlotte, got traded, but basically on draft day, he became a Laker. So yeah, that was amazing. And then I got to watch his 20-year career. Now I'm not gonna go into too much detail on the 20-year career. It was that I'm gonna probably talk about that on another channel. Maybe I'll have an NBA or probably a Lakers channel or something, and I'll talk about that more. But this is my main channel. But this is important life lessons, and it's something. There's a message that I can share with you about this experience for me. But I do want to talk about my experience with Kobe Bryant and why I think maybe it hit so hard. So yeah, 17, and I was a huge fan. By the time he was 21, he was winning NBA championships. He won the 81 points in one game in 2006. 81. That was such a huge highlight. I mean, a huge highlight. Wow, 81 points. And he could have had 80 or 90 in a couple other games that season, but he didn't play all 4 quarters. The 81-point game, they were down most of the game, or for a large portion of the game. They needed that output. The other times he was scoring about 60-something after 3. You know, he was getting 20 plus a quarter for 3 quarters in a row for a couple of different games, and all he needed was another 20. He was on fire. He would have gotten 80 or maybe 90. Some say 100. But anyway, point is, the 81 was amazing. People don't know often don't realize how good on defense he was, because some fans came in the second half of his career where he wasn't, or you get to your in the pros, especially let's say the NBA, and after you're into your 30s, in the NBA especially, in your 30s you start to slow down a little, at least a little bit, right? If you're a kicker in the NFL, a quarterback in the NFL, not necessarily. Pinch hitter in baseball, not necessarily. A goalie in soccer, I don't know. But yes, if you're a guard in the NBA and you're like 33 or 34, your overall ability to defend an elite 23-year-old is not going to be as good as when the same person was 26, right? So Kobe was a 9-time first team all defensive player. 9 times all defense first team. So what does that mean? He was the best defender at his position at least 9 seasons based on the voting criteria. The All-Star game 18 times. He's tied for the most All-Star game MVPs at 4. That's not a big deal in my opinion, because basically, if you know Kobe as a player, he was maniacal and he was going to destroy you. It don't matter if it's practice or a game or the All-Star game or the playoffs. Everything was going to be, he's going to destroy you and win the game. He was going to beat you, or he was going to do everything he could to. So yeah. He kicked people's asses in the All-Star game and won MVP 4 times, so anyway. So it was 20 years. Now, he retired. He announced his retirement in 2016. I think it was about halfway through the year, so then all of a sudden, all these, when he was going to visiting teams' arenas, they would honor him because he was retiring. And they would pay him tribute and honor him and let him know how much they appreciated him as a player. When he was at the retirement tour, that was him as a player, honoring him as a player. And it was special. One of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time. Most people, at least top 10, a lot of people, at least top 5, and some people somewhere around 1 or 2. But a GOAT, one of the greatest, at the very least. So yes, they honored him significantly when he was visiting the arenas after he announced this will be his last go-around. After he retired, I got, as a diehard Lakers fan, I got to take a sigh of relief. It sucked that he was retired, but he had been, after the Achilles injury, for those of you who follow NBA or Lakers or Kobe, you'll know that after the Achilles injury, things weren't quite ever the same, except for the last game when he scored 60. Oh my God. But yes, well, he shot 50 times. We'll talk about that in a minute. I got something for you that they're not talking about on the ESPNs. Sean said on the ESPNs. I said that on purpose. I'm just being goofy, trying to be goofy. Shed some tears the last 48 hours. I think the timing worked where I'm doing this video now, where maybe I'm just, I don't know, feeling a little bit more able to think more clearly now. Just letting you know how I'm doing based on thoughts and feelings in the moment, off the cuff. So, he announced his retirement. They did the tours. They honored him because of how good he was at basketball, for the most part. They honored him as a person too, but it was mostly about his impact as an NBA player and on his skill, accomplishments, drive and determination as an NBA player, and his influence on other NBA players. That was the tribute when he was retiring. And it was special. Sure, absolutely. It was hard, it was last season, but it had been a couple of years since ever since the Achilles injury. Before the Achilles injury, for those of you who are Lakers fans or Kobe fans or NBA or sports fans, you might remember, or you either will or might remember Vino, right? Vino, that was going to be his new nickname. If the Achilles injury didn't happen, they were headed to the playoffs. I don't think they would have won the title that year, but who knows what would have happened overall. But he was Vino. Vino, remember? Getting better with age. People couldn't believe it. He was kicking serious ass. Right, that season he blew out his Achilles. He was kicking serious ass. People were saying, damn, he's getting older. Is he getting better? What is this? So anyway, not better athletically overall. Kind of like how Tom Brady at 42 or 41. We'll use this 40. Tom Brady at like 40, 41 was a lot better than the 30, 31-year-old version, even though it's like the 40-year-old version was a little less athletic than the Tom Brady of 30, but so much acquired knowledge. But anyway, so yes. So he's getting better with age. And Vino, Achilles injury happened. That was pretty much it for the elite basketball status when it came to being able to just destroy your opponents and will your team to victory and carry them on your back until the very last game, the 60 points on 50 shots. Now listen, please. It was his last game, 20 years at home, last game after 20 years. He had the jitters, at least for Kobe. Like compared to what we would consider jitters, it was nothing. But for him, he had a little bit of jitters, and he missed his first 5 shots. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen that game in a while. He missed his first 5 shots, right? He shot 50 times. I believe he hit 23 shots. So yeah, he scored 60 on 50 shots. When you just think of that, it's like, okay, anybody can shoot 1,000,000 times and get a bunch of points. That's an easy idea to have. But if you were to ask people who are in the NBA or people who are coaches of the NBA, high-level basketball people, if you were to ask them, it's to be able to physically, in an NBA game, when the other team is playing defense, to get off 50 shots, just to get off 50 shots. Holy crap. Good luck. Anyway, but he missed his first 5 shots, probably some jitters, right? So that means after that beginning of the game and he got the kind of the jitters out of the way, he went 23 for 45. I think it was 23. I'm not going to look it up, but it was right around there. But if you take away the first five shots, the first little bit of the game, he was shooting around 50% for the game. So any player who's getting hot in a game, who's one of your stars, who is a good scorer, is probably your number one option, or is definitely your number one option, and they're shooting around 50% for the game, and you're down a lot of the game, it's really close, or you're down, and your number one scorer is shooting around 50%, of course you're going to keep feeding him the ball. So the 50 shots it's symbolic, and now that he's passed away, it's like a positive, I guess. But when he was when he was still alive, man, it's just so weird. I haven't even talked about what it felt like when he passed away. But when he was still alive, that people would, the 50 points sometimes, or the 50 shots to get the 60 points. Sometimes people would undervalue the ability needed to accomplish what he did because they're saying he took the 50 shots. All right, so that was an amazing exit. It was bittersweet, but I took a sigh of relief. For those of you who are still watching it, I took a sigh of relief. Yeah, because when the NBA Finals were on, or my favorite team in the Super Bowl is on, it's just so tense. So tense. So, yep, Kobe was retired. It was an amazing career. So much awesome. 20 years. Wow. Wow. I felt satisfied. So satisfied with what Kobe gave me as a Lakers fan and as a Kobe fan. I'm definitely a Lakers fan, but I'm also definitely a Kobe fan. If Kobe went to another team, I would have like two favorite teams. It wouldn't be like Lakers and, well, these guys. Like when Randall Cunningham of the Eagles, a long time ago, that was my first favorite athlete, Cunningham. He went to a different team, and I had Eagles and then kind of the Vikings. But if Kobe went somewhere, oh my goodness, I'm going with Kobe. I would still, I'm a Lakers fan since '88, like I mentioned, but anyway, but it matched 20 years together. So yes, it was. He retired. I unplugged. 3.5 years ago he retired. So I unplugged. So halfway through 2016, I unplugged from the Lakers. Not completely from the Lakers. I unplugged from Kobe. I used to look up Kobe for like news or new stories or information articles back in the day when he was playing all the time, daily. I would look up new information about Kobe Bryant on a daily basis when he was playing. When I had regular access to the internet. You've been playing since '96, right? So when I had regular access to the internet, essentially when I had a smartphone. Do we still call them smartphones, or do we just call them phones? Sean, you're so old sometimes. So when we started having phones, then yes, I would I would Google Kobe at least once a day. And then he retired, and I stopped doing that. The Lakers got some draft picks. They got young players. They had horrible records, the team, and then they would get these good draft picks, and it was okay. It was okay, but I didn't really get into the Lakers too much. Couldn't really watch much of them. After Kobe retired, yeah. I'm not. I mean, Sean's not a good Lakers fan. I'm being honest. I'm being real. I'm not gonna watch the. I guess I'm not at the level of some of you guys who are Lakers fans. I'm not at that level, I guess. My favorite team is in the Super Bowl. I'm watching the Super Bowl and I'm loving it. If my favorite team is not in the Super Bowl, if I don't end up in a party or something, I'm probably not going to watch the game just to watch it. If I'm at the party, I'm probably watching part of it. But if I didn't end up going to a Super Bowl party, my team's not in the Super Bowl, I'm probably not watching it. But anyway, Kobe retired. I wasn't really into watching the Lakers. Love the Lakers as a team. I'm really not into watching them. Lonzo Ball came around, Brandon Ingram, I started to get into them more. They traded for AD. Once LeBron came on, I was getting definitely interested. Like, are we going somewhere now? And then once AD came on, holy crap, that's right now, this season. Super, super exciting as a Lakers fan. I had been unplugged from Kobe. I had some familiarity that he was having. I think he had a new kid, a new daughter. I was pretty sure he had only daughters. This is before Sunday. No boys, only daughters. Around 3. So he actually had a fourth. He had 4 daughters prior to Sunday. Oh, this is so awful. Let's talk about his kids and oh my God. Shit. Yeah, let's not talk about the kids right now. Let's not talk about the kids. So I would look up online a little bit of information every now and then about Kobe. I was familiar with that Muse documentary. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing. I'm definitely going to be watching it now. I'm surprised I didn't. I did. I did watch it once. I definitely did watch it once. I had to. But now I'm going to watch it with more laser focus. So I did see Muse. I did Dear Basketball. So I'm familiar with some of that Academy Award. But I didn't follow him too closely. Shit, I figured I have a few decades to see where he went with his second his second act, his second half of life, his second act. But no, um, so I unplugged for a little while. I actually looked him up. I did. I went on Google and I typed in KOBE, enter, and then hit news, just like I used to do on a daily basis. I still check up on like the Lakers on pretty much a daily basis, not every day, but often. But I remember it was about between 1 and 2 weeks ago. I looked up Kobe specifically, trying to remember what it was talking about. It was him connecting with and advocating for women's basketball. It might have been that he was advocating. Yeah, I think it was. He suggested three. There was three WNBA players who'll be ready to go to the NBA now. I might have seen that just on a regular like news feed on my like home screen or whatnot on my computer or phone or whatnot. But and then when I looked him up, I saw a different article. But I'm trying to connect the dots here, memory wise. But yeah, it was women's basketball connection, and I definitely either that moment or around the same time came across the information where he was talking about three different WNBA players could play in the NBA today. I didn't really watch him closely enough to know about his daughter that was with him on Sunday. I didn't realize that was going to be the mini Mamba. They didn't. I don't think they called her that yet, but that's what I believe what they would have called her. So, all right. So I heard the news. My girlfriend told me that she showed me like on her phone a TMZ news article. Now, I've watched a lot of other famous and public figures talking about their reactions and such, and I guess I had a similar reaction, but it was just a shorter time period with regards to the disbelief. I remember vividly. I didn't believe it. It didn't fit. Intermission. It's a cute cat. Sorry, trying to distract myself, but I need to get this out. So, it didn't fit. I didn't believe it. There was no way. There was no way. Kobe died in a helicopter crash. Right. Uh-huh. And my neighbor just shot a rocket and blew up the moon. Yep. And Kobe died in a helicopter crash. Oh, helicopter crash. That's a good one. So anyway, that was about 2 seconds. That was it. And then I realized it was probably true, and then I was very sad. Shortly thereafter, it was obvious that it was true. So that was a hard thing to process and accept. And then on Monday, I started seeing all the reactions from all the people around the world and realizing how profoundly amazing he was as a human being and how profoundly amazing he seemed to have been going towards with regards to his second act, winning an Academy Award so early on and having so much dedication, passion, drive, ability, focus. He was the Mamba mentality. There you go. He was the Mamba mentality. What we're trying to emulate, he was. So that he was using that Mamba mentality to excel at a ridiculously high level at almost whatever he was putting his effort towards. So his second act was going to be amazing. And then all the family stuff. And those were layers. My 20-year favorite player in the NBA. I've known him for what? I've been following him for like 25 years. As a celebrity. His genius and knowledge. He wanted to pass it on to all the younger generations. His influences on other people, and then you add the family, the Gigi. You had Gigi's situation, and then the impact on his wife and his other children. teenage daughter. So he lost a 13-year-old. For those of you who aren't maybe up to speed on some of the details, but you watch me sometimes. He lost his 13-year-old was with him in the helicopter. His 17-year-old is at home, just turned 17 recently. This as of this recording in January 2020. And he has a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old. So I hadn't heard anyone say this, but I realized that out of Kobe Bryant's 4 kids, only one will be able to truly say they knew him, like really knew him. One of his 4 kids, Kobe Bryant, and only one of his 4 kids can say they really knew him. It's just punches in the gut. Just punches in the gut. Ah, man. And this could have been done on purpose. Kobe could still be alive today, but I don't know. So the message, don't take things for granted. We are eternal beings, but at the same time, in a relative sense, life is short. The saying to live each day like it's the last is really good advice. The point is, live life to the fullest. I look up to Ralph Smart. He's one of the greatest human beings I know. I don't know him personally, but he's one of the greatest human beings I know. Ralph Smart. You can find him if you have not found him yet. Diving Deep. He's Ralph Smart Diving Deep. You'll find him. Yeah, he goes by Infinite Waters. He's not. I watched this video. He had did a tribute video to Kobe, and I don't believe he was specifically saying that there was some conspiracy that took this chopper down, but he was suggesting that there's things at play that could have influenced this happening. So we'll talk about that later. I love you. I love you guys. I love you, Kobe. I'm so sorry you're gone. I miss you. I'll miss you forever. It hit me really hard. And it seemed to hit a lot of people really hard, from what I've seen.